here today with Elizabeth Ball, who's one of the candidates with the NPA and a long-serving councillor. I'm not sure how many of our viewers actually know the bios of many of the people running for office.
Well, I spent many years working in local theatres and 27 years at the Carousel Theatre Company and School on Granville Island, building the Waterfront Theatre on Granville Island. And indeed, I worked for the Vancouver Playhouse, the Arts Club Theatre, City Stage, and numerous other theatres. I also was a cultural advocate for over 40 years in the city.
What are some of the areas that you'd like to work on, specifically addressing arts and culture and music?
Well, it's very important in the city of Vancouver for us to have enough spaces, what we call creative spaces, cultural spaces, for artists to be able to work. It's so important when you're developing work to have an appropriate or purpose-built space to be able to work. So often artists are forced to work in little back rooms or in basements, dingy attics, and it's very difficult to be able to develop work appropriately in those spaces.
Over the past year, we've heard a lot about artist spaces in Vancouver. Do you think Vancouver does a good job compared to other metropolitan cities? Because that's technically what Vancouver is now. And as we grow up, do you think we're including the artist community in our plans?
Well, I think in the last 3 years, we've taken a real leap forward. We are now in the city, in the country, we give more grants than any other city. We are at $10.5 million in terms of grants awarded to artists. But in terms of spaces, I think that we really have a leap to go forward. And that's what we're doing. Those are the recommendations that we have made in our facility study. Our staff have been wonderful, working hard. And of course, it means a great deal in economic growth for the city. If there are more places to perform, it's economically more feasible for artists to bring forward new projects. And of course, that helps restaurants. It helps everything that spins around, because that's the wonderful thing about the arts. It's a real economic generator for the city.
Well, as we go into the last 18 months of the countdown before 2010, I'm sure that the community is revving up and looking at opportunities to showcase our arts and culture community.
Yes, and that's one of the best things about having the Olympics here for the arts. Of course, it's wonderful for all of our sports people, but for the artists, there's so much work out there. We have lighting projects, we have public art, and we have performances. Our 2010 Olympiad is just going to be amazing. Robert Kerr, who used to run the Coastal Blues and Jazz, is just developed a tremendous program, and I'm really looking forward, as I know all of the citizens are, to some of the fine performances that will be sponsored or brought to us through the Olympiad, and I think that's going to be truly tremendous. Again, another economic generator.
You know, I have to say that's what I'm most impressed with as I'm talking to the councillors, is that just speaking with your party, that everybody has a role. Everybody brings something to the table, that where you may leave off, Suzanne begins or Kim starts. And I think that's a really unique perspective to bring into City Hall. Do you think it's because of the amount of women that are now running for municipal office? Do you think that has something to do with it?
Well, the wonderful thing is that we do actually have a lovely amount of women running, but the marvelous thing is all of us have special talents, but we're all interconnected. One of us may have a special expertise in housing, but that connects into the arts, because of course housing without arts in it is not nearly as exciting. So, and one of us may have a special expertise in crime, but culture connects to crime, because you can lower crime through cultural activities. So it's a marvelous interconnectedness, and whether we're male or female, we all work together in the very best way. We have a tremendous team. We've worked together so well, but our new candidates are marvelous and diverse, and that's the exciting thing about it. We have this marvelous diversity in our team, and we're also excited to work together.
I'm interested to know, for the next term, 3 things on Elizabeth's wish list.
Well, I mentioned cultural spaces are tremendously important. And I think for children, every time I go into council, I say, is there something here that I can do for children? Is there a way that we can better the city for our children and for our seniors? And I think that that is tremendously important, that if there's a new development coming, is there something that we can look at this new development and encourage something for seniors and for our children? Because in a way, they're both populations that you have to do something something special for, you need to look at, is there something important that we can do? And I'm always looking at ways that culture and cultural tourism can benefit the city economically. Our city needs as many new economic generators as we possibly can, because that's a way to combat homelessness. If people have good jobs, then they have homes. And I think the more jobs that we can create in our city, the better it is. So I'm always trying to find ways that we can create good jobs for our artists so that they can have better lives, but good jobs for people in the service industry. And if we can help cultural tourism, that's one of the best things we can do.
Well, I wish you the best of luck on your campaign.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
It was a real pleasure meeting with the incumbents on today's show. We learned a lot about municipal issues and what's important in this campaign. It's important to get out and vote, so please do on November the 15th. I'm Alise Mills for Hot Topic here on Novus TV.